Thank you so much for staying. I've been joined by an ex-banker. Come on, who else would I bring to talk about matters concerning the financial sector? Is Olatunji Badru. Thank you for coming on the show.
And please, thank you so much.
You're welcome. So we've discovered that some banks are now restructuring, adopting the holding company model. What's the attraction with the holding company business model? First, let's get to understand what a holding company is.
The holding company is a business entity, usually corporation or limited liability company. They own a controlling interest in other companies, which is called a subsidiary or daughter companies. So they own controlling shares, and there's a purpose. The purpose is to be able to have control over the management as well as the company policies. But they do not manufacture, they don't sell, they don't buy. But their interest is to control the subsidiaries, to control the management, control the company policies. There are a lot of benefits, which when we get to, you will see the reason why they are doing that.
Okay, before we get to the reason why a holding company acquires shares. Now, is it something that any business or anybody can do since they are not involved in the day-to-day running?
This holding company concept or model is not peculiar to bank. Any other company can decide. Because look at one of the major advantages of holding companies that it's very easy to form.
Okay.
If you want to have a holding company, after following the process by making sure that if it's a bank, you have to get approval in principle from CBN.
Okay.
After getting approval from CBN, you have to now make sure that their requirements are available. Then when the requirements are available, you now approach a CAC. When you approach CAC, you pay non-refundable consent fee. After you pay non-refundable consent fee, you now make an application so that your company can be a holding company. Why I say it's very easy to form is that promoters can decide to buy shares from some companies and have more than 50% controlling shares of that company. And they are not controlling it. They don't really need to be involved in day-to-day operation of the company, but their interest is to control it. Like at the end of the financial year, when they declare profit, the profit goes to the holding company. If they say wholly owned, they say wholly owned a subsidiary, the 100% of the profit go to the holding company. So it's a good method of. There are a lot of one of the major things why they are doing these things that. If you have companies of different business interest, different type of business, not one particular business.
Okay.
If one is failing, like the bank is not measuring up, but maybe pension business is doing well. The money they will get there will help to reduce the effect of the one that is failing, that took risk and is failing. So if they have many companies like that, it will not affect the holding company.
Okay, and so we're already going into the benefits. But I want to ask, why is it something that a lot of banks want to do now? They want to restructure. Yes. Is there anything wrong with the current organization of banks?
Yes, the reason, if you look at, after the bank crisis after 2019, when there was a bank crisis in Nigeria, many banks collapsed. So the CBN had to formulate a strategy on how it now decide to phase out universal banking licenses, and now decide that if any bank is having other businesses, they have to divest. That is, they should sell it off or go to restructure into a holding company because of the benefit attached to a holding company. So that is the reason why you see, like
but that happened in 2010.
After 2009, the real thing started to. I said no, there was bank crisis that culminated. In fact, the first bank that really started it was UBA in 2011, when they now have a UBA holding company. Then we have First Bank. Then we also have FCMB.
And other banks.
Other banks. Now the other banks are trying to show interest now.
The reason I asked that is that a directive that was given in 2010, and this is 2020.
Yes.
So why are we finding that in 2020, more banks are now trying to key into the holding company structure?
Okay.
Could there have been a development?
There's a development.
Okay.
The reason why you see now most banks are now coming in, look at Stanley Bank a few days ago, they announced. And
Access Bank.
Access Bank. GT is also very interested in going through. But the major reason is because of the present crisis, this COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay.
The advent of COVID-19 pandemic has far-reaching economic implications. The first is that many people lost their job. Some of them are on half pay. The implication to the bank is that these people could not pay their debt, the loans they collected, so that the loan performance is now reducing, and the efficiency of collecting this loan has also been affected because the people don't just have the money. They are not working. Some of them on half pay. So, but if the bank had been having other businesses, if they have other businesses, they would have been able to, it will serve as shock absorber. Those businesses will have been able to help to ameliorate their situation. But when you pack all your eggs in one basket in a core banking business, then the effect will be very damaging. That is why most banks now, they are now seeing the need.
Okay.
What recommended in 2010 by CBN. There's some people key into it, some banks key into it then, but
at
now,
the early stage.
But now, because of COVID-19, the effect, many people that it even affected the pension. Some people lost their jobs, so the monthly contribution of pension has reduced drastically. So, but like a particular bank like the IBTC bank, they are, if you talk of core banking, they are not so good there, but other businesses, they are very good, and a lot of profits are coming from other systems. That's why they have been able to withstand the shock.
Okay. Now, the thing is, for a bank now that is restructuring to a holdco, that's the abbreviation for a holding company.
Yes.
Now, are there lines of business that the banks are restricted to acquire as subsidiaries that are linked to banking, or because it's a holdco now, it can have interest in other subsidiaries that are not connected at all with banking?
That's the beauty of the concept of a holding company. There is no restriction. They can go into other businesses.
So a bank now can have stake in the oil sector?
Oil sector, agric, real property, even intellectual property. So they are now able to move freely. And the advantage is that if that particular business, there's a challenge in that business, it cannot affect the holding company because that business is independent. It's a limited liability company of its own, different from the holding company. So if they make profit, the profit will be taken to the holding company. But if there's a loss, the loss cannot be transferred to the holding company.
Why is that, sir?
Because
if there's profit, the profit goes to the holding company. If there is loss in one subsidiary, it doesn't transfer to others.
Does it? And it doesn't transfer to other subsidiaries that are within the holding company. That's the beauty of holding company, which is now, their eyes are now open. Say, wow, they are now taking advantage. If you look at those banks that started early with the holding company, that is why you see most of them are in the first tier one banking setup.
Yes.
We have tier one, so they are there. It's only FCMB that is not in the tier one.
Okay. Now, it can't all be sweet with the holding company business model. Are there demerits of that system?
There are.
Okay.
There are far-reaching demerits. If one of the major demerits of that company is over-capitalization. Over-capitalization is a situation whereby the subsidiaries, their capital, and that of the holding company, they put them together, and they have a lot of capital. And if they have a lot of capital, and if it is not well managed, you see that the returns on investment, the return to the shareholder will be minimal.
Okay.
They will not be able to, it will affect them. Another disadvantage of this, the demerits also, is that it can lead to misuse of power. The reason why I'm talking...
Having so much under you.
Under you.
Okay.
Some of them now can, you know, their decision is overriding the decision of the holding company.
Okay.
And they can decide to remove a manager, appoint a new manager, and overvalue the manager in terms of a rating of salaries, a lot of salary. Because you cannot, the subsidiary cannot query the holding company.
Okay.
So they can misuse their power. That is another one. Another thing is that they can also exploit the subsidiary company. The subsidiary company can be compared to sell at lower prices to the holding company. When the members of the holding company, they want to buy something, and because they know that they are in charge, no, they've contributed, they have financial liability, but their powers, their financial power is high in comparison to the financial liability. The financial power is higher than financial liability by the holding company. So they can also influence prices of things in their favor at the detriment of the subsidiary.
Okay.
So
now, what about the workforce?
The workforce too. The workforce, indirectly, I spoke just now that some people can be hired and fired and overrated. Then another thing that can happen when you see in what we have seen in some companies, some banks, you discover that the workers suffered in the sense that some of them were retrenched because they were trying to rationalize, because they are trying to ensure efficiency in production, and they brought in IT, information technology, digital, because they have money
which replaced humans in some areas.
And they had money to be able to purchase because their purchasing power has increased.
Okay.
So they were able now to, they go to digital. And it affected some workers. Some workers were affected. Though holding company can encourage robust corporate governance, but there are this limitation here and there. Though they have economies of scale and all those things, but it's still not sweet just like that. Because some of these subsidiaries can still fail. Because holding company, they try to avoid risk. One of the ways they can easily avoid risk, when they see a subsidiary is not doing well, do you know what they do? They just decide to de-invest. They just sell off their shares and run away. They will no longer have any controlling share on that company. And they can use the money to go and acquire other companies. So
the interest is just the shares.
Yes.
How the day-to-day running of the company sometimes is affected is not the primary concern of the holding company, is the shares. So the subsidiary at the end of the day bears the burns.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about taxation? Even though they have more capital, and when there's profit, the profit goes to the top, which is the holding company. When there's a loss, it's only borne by the subsidiary. What about taxation? Is there a case of multiple taxation with operating a holding company?
There is. There are advantages and disadvantages. The advantages is that when a subsidiary is not doing well and they fail in making a loss, so the loss will be taken forward for tax purposes, because when you are declaring your profit, you first remove the loss.
Okay. So
it's an advantage to the head. But the disadvantage is that there's a double taxation. The holding company is taxed. The subsidiary is also taxed. So that's why I say it's not everything so sweet like that.
All the way.
The subsidiary will be taxed because it's a limited liability company. They are independent. Even in a group, we have also group, like a Dangote group now. It's different from a holding company. But their own now, where a holding company is different from group. Holding company, the company may not have 100% of the shares.
Okay. You may just have a major interest.
Not all the shareholders of subsidiary are the shareholders of holding company. But in a group, the shareholders is similar. The subsidiary is similar. The shareholders is similar. Like we have in Dangote group now, we have Dangote sugar, Dangote flour, Dangote cement.
Everything is same.
It's the same.
Compared to the holding, the owners are the same as the operators.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's the difference between the holding company and when you have a group. Okay. Now, this trend that has begun now, very soon we may start seeing that almost, if not all, the banks in Nigeria have restructured to holding companies. What will be the overall impact in the financial sector?
It will have, I think the impact to be good, because with the trend now, the depositors fund will be more protected, because if there's a failure, because the bank will be better managed now, because they have some. Because before now, you see some banks, they are independent, and they are sharp practices, the sharp practices within the management. But they now have a higher authority that can now oversee them and control them. And if they are not performing, they are thrown out, they are sacked. So somehow it is beneficial, because it will increase profitability, it will have a multiplier effect, and that it will also help in when people want to collect loan, because the requirement will not be too stringent as it is. Because one of the things why it is so stringent, because the money available is very limited.
Okay, so they take more actions to ensure that before a loan is given, it's someone who can repay back.
Who can repay back, and it will also create more employment, because as people are employed, as the company is doing fine, more people will be employed. And particularly during this period where many people have lost their job. Already now, in some banks now, we are already hearing that some people that have been sacked, they are being asked to come and resume. So with this now, it will have it's a win-win something, that the economy will improve in terms of the production, the quality of production, there will be efficiency of operation, there will be robust corporate governance, and I think when you look at it critically, it will be good. Though I'm not saying that because of this, the effect of COVID-19 will not see, the effect will not affect them, but will be minimized.
They will be better able to absorb it.
Absorb it.
Okay, but doesn't it depend on the type of holdco that the bank is adopting? If it's a pure holding company or an operating holding company, would it make any difference?
But like what you are seeing now, the model they are adopting now is the holding company, whereby the holding company owns the shares or control a lion portion of the shares of those subsidiaries.
Okay.
So they are now able to influence diversification.
Okay.
They are now able to influence efficiency in operation and partnership. And they are able to now throw out IT technology.
Okay.
Because they have money. There's large capital.
Okay. So they are not actually adopting the operational holding company. That may be for some other firms, not for banks.
Yes.
Okay. All right, it's been a wonderful discussion today looking at the holding company model. So now you know, in case that sounded strange to you at the beginning, you've been very much enlightened by Olatunji Badru here. Thank you again for coming on the show. I am Blessing H. Until next week, to have yourself a wonderful weekend.